Hey everybody, welcome to episode 6 of Chord Expansion. This week we're going to be taking a look at altered dominant chords, and we are going to build them on the top 4 strings, going from the D string to the E string, and work it all the way up the neck throughout the scale. So before we get into that, let's just go over what an altered dominant chord actually is. There's basically 4 different types of altered dominants that you can encounter. You will have flat 9, sharp 9, flat 5, and sharp 5. And there is a particular scale that gives you every altered tone that you would need over a dominant tonality, and that's the altered scale. So for today's chords, we're going to do it in the key of G, and we're going to take a G altered scale and we're going to run it all the way up the first string, and we're going to build a variety of different altered voicings with each note of the scale on top. So by the end of it, we're going up a G altered scale all the way up the first string in chord voicings. So what an altered scale is, we start with G, which is our root, A flat is our flat 9, and then B flat is our sharp 9, and then B is our third. So that's one of the things that's interesting about altered dominant is you have flat third and regular 3, but typically you would call the flat 3 sharp 9 rather than flatted third. That's where you get that altered dominant sound. So root, flat 9, sharp 9, major third, flat 5, which is D flat, and then sharp 5, which is D sharp. So those are the other 2 altered tones. So the 4 altered tones that we have within an altered dominant scale is we have the flat 9, sharp 9, and then flat 5 and sharp 5. So those are the 2 spots that are giving us those altered tonalities. And then we have an F note, which is our flatted 7th, and then back to G, which is the root. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to build chord voicings with each of these notes on top. So by the end, we can, run through the entire scale, and we have multiple voicings that are harmonizing each note of the scale on top. So I'm going to give you a couple of voicings for each note, and as always, if you would like there's 17 additional voicings and PDFs of everything that we go over today. You can go over to patreon.com/MikeGaudetteMusic. So we're going to start out with the G on top, the root. So some of the most common ones that people will use, this one, which is just a G7 sharp 5. We have the flatted 7th, the third, the sharp 5, and the root. And then another cool one would be this, G7 flat 9. So flatted 7th, flat 9, major third, and root. Either of those work nicely if you want to harmonize the root on top for an altered dominant. Now, if we want to do the flat 9 on top, A flat, we can just take that same first voicing we did and just do it like this instead. It actually it's the same thing as an F minor 7 flat 5, right? But we're looking at it against G. So that would be flat 7, third, sharp 5, flat 9. Okay, and now a cool variation that we can do on that is we can take the sharp 5 and lower it 2 frets, so now it's the flat 5. So now, instead of this, we have this. So different sound. There's a big difference between the sharp 5 sound and the flat 5 sound. They have very distinct characteristics to each of them. So now we have 2 for the G on top, 2 for A flat on top. And now we are going to go with the sharp 9 on top, which is our B flat. So once again, we can just take the same voicing and just add the pinky to the B flat. That's a good one. Flat 7, 3, sharp 5, sharp 9. Call that G7, sharp 5, sharp 9. Or we can do like the stock, the Jimi Hendrix chord, but this is starting on the 4th string rather than the 5th string. So G, B, F, B flat, which gives us just a G7 sharp 9 sound. So now we have... Now we're going to get to the third. There's not a ton of options for the third that I was able to come up with, but there's a couple, and a few of these sound a little bit better if you have the bass note on the bottom, because on their own it's kind of hard to hear them in their harmonic context. But this is a cool one with the third on top. It looks like an A flat minor 6, so it's A flat, E flat, F, B. And if we look at that against G, it's flat 9, sharp 5, flat 7, and regular 3. So you can do that, and then another variation, you could also put your pinky on the G note of the 2nd string. Those are interchangeable. So when we do that, all we're doing is we're switching from the flatted 7th to the root. But that's a cool little voicing combination, especially if you want to get some inner movement within the chord, right? Switching from that G to that F, that's a cool sound. All right, now we're going to get to the flat 5. So once again, there's not a crazy amount of voicings I was able to come up with for this one. You'll notice as you're going through, certain intervals have a lot more options than others. But a couple that I like for this one, this is one that you can do. And once again, if you have the bass note in the bottom, you can really hear what it's supposed to sound like in terms of the tonality. So this would be a G7 flat 9 flat 5. So it's B, F, A flat, D flat. This is another cool one. This one's a little bit of a stretch and a little dense, but really cool stretchy voicing. So this one has a sharp 5 and a flat 5. So it's G, and then put your ring finger on E flat, which is the sharp 5, middle finger on F, which is our flatted 7th, and then pinky on D flat, which is our flat 5. That's a cool one. So now we have all the way up. All right, now we have 2 more to do. So now we got to do the sharp 5. The most common one that people typically do is this. So B, F, B flat, E flat. So that's a G7 sharp 9 sharp 5. You can also, instead of playing the B flat on the second string, you play G instead. Then you get this. Right? Either of those. There's a couple more options on the Patreon for that one as well. And then the last one we're going to have is the flatted 7th on top, the F. This is another one where I don't have a crazy amount of options for this one, but there are some. Another one that sounds better when you have the bass note on the bottom. So this kind of sounds, it looks like an A flat minor 6. So it's middle finger on E flat, ring finger on A flat, pointer finger on B, pinky on E flat. So play that against G. We have the sharp 5, flat 9, 3rd, and flatted 7th. So that's one. I also like this one a lot. Another dense sounding voicing. Pointer finger on B, ring finger on G, and you're barring your pointer finger, so you also get A flat on the second string, and then your pinky jumps up to F on the first string. That one's really cool. More of a modern sound, but good one to get the flat 7 on top. And then we're back to G again, so then we have the, that whole thing. So what I'm going to do for the next episode is I'm going to take the minor 7 flat 5 voicings that I covered in the previous episode and combine them with these altered dominant sounds, and then we're going to culminate all of that together into minor 2-5-1 voicings on the top 4 strings. So each episode kind of builds off of each one. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you learned something. And if you're interested in the additional voicings and the transcriptions, you can become a patron at patreon.com/MikeGaudetteMusic. And that's about it. I will see you guys at the next episode. Take care.